slide, Joe? Okay, so today, this slide is the agenda slide. And first of all, thank you very, very much for coming and listening to this webinar. We're very, very excited to be able to welcome our US colleagues into the fold. And it's brilliant that Joe and Corky are really, really setting off the fireworks in terms of what they intend to do with the US chapter. So it is really excellent news. So we're going to talk today a little bit about PIPMG and what we do. Then Joe and Corky are going to talk about what's happening for 2023, especially Joe and Corky have been very, very proactive in organizing some excellent webinars. So he'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll talk about sponsors and how we fund the organization. And then lastly, but not least, we're going to, as Joe said, we're going to help you understand what you can avail of when you are a member of the PIPMG group. Now, you're going to hear this sentence loads and loads of times, and I'm not going to apologize for. Membership to PIPMG is free. That's the first time. We'll see how many times I say it by the end of the lecture. Next slide, please. So PIPMG, the Pharmaceutical Industry Project Management Group, is unique in my opinion. It is unique because compared to other organizations for project managers, we really strive to be a membership organization. And that is why we have free membership, second time. So we really, really try and instill the basic principles of project management. We as an organization have great networking facilities and great training facilities. So our mission is to promote and support the development of project management within our industry. And that is the pharmaceutical, the biotech, contract research organizations or contract manufacturing organizations and other pharmaceutical organizations. Now, the reason we feel that we need a separate organization is unlike other project management groups like construction, like civil service, like finance. When we're doing projects, yes, we understand the process, but we're not really sure what the outcome is going to be. And so we have to use a unique combination of that classical waterfall project management and agile methodology. And as well, the other big difference between us and other industries, we believe, is that the majority of the time, we who are in project teams also probably have a day job. And so we're supposed to be that ambidextrous octopus, multitasking all the time. And so that's why we believe it is great to have a network within the industry where like-minded people can share experiences, best practice, and lessons learned. Click, please. So the way we do this, click again, please, is through networking. We have webinars, we have seminars, and we'll talk about a little bit about this in a minute. We also get together and we share experiences. I have met some great colleagues in PIPMG that have become good friends. And project management by itself is quite lonely. And it's lovely to feel that there is a community out there who understands my frustrations and gives me that confidence that when I'm going through that frustration, I am doing the right thing. I just need to keep going. It is a really, really good family membership, collaborative organization. We also share knowledge, and John is going to talk more about this when we talk about the website and our knowledge center. We have personalized training. If you are a senior member of an organization and you're wanting to formalize your project management ways of working, your project management processes, we can provide tailor-make training courses that are led by our experienced trainer, John, who again is going to talk to you later. And not only that, we have access to over 1,000 members. So it is a really good place to start looking for that new project manager, whether they be a junior person, a middle experienced person for middle management projects, or whether you're looking for that head of the PMO office. Our website is a great place to start that journey for looking for that new candidate for your team. Click, please. And so, as I mentioned earlier, another click, please. The way we do all this, the way we really feel we promote principles of project management, we gain that shared experience, is by having webinars, events. And we're about to start this year with a webinar blog. And I'm not even going to begin to explain this because I really am not sure what it is. But John will explain it, I'm sure, later. And so I've been a member of PIPMG for 15 years. And I have to say it was one of the best things I did when I joined. Yes, I know I'm chair now for my sins, but I did volunteer. I cannot encourage you enough to join us. We are free, third time. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, we will talk about sponsors later on, but we are a not-for-profit organization. So John, Joe, Corky, we all give our time free of charge, Jeanette and John, everybody on the committee, so that we have a board, and myself and Jeanette are on that board. And then we have an executive committee of about 12 to 14 people. And these people are the sort of the guiding force. They're the ones who agree the strategy, and then based on that strategy, we then put in tactical plans to carry them out for specific years. And of that exec committee, remember, all these people are volunteers. We then break it into sub-teams, and we have a marketing sub-team. We have, for example, conference sub-teams, webinar sub-teams. So everybody is giving us a little bit back of their time, but no one person is feeling overawed. Big thing, we are volunteers, and that's why, fourth time, we are free for our members. Next slide, please. Now, Joe, over to you. So while Joe is getting ready, I want to again celebrate the fact that as of the 1st of January, the PIPMG, which was always a global organization, officially was able to set up a specific West Coast US charter that Joe Stadler is going to run and manage, but he is also going to be the sort of overseer for the whole US, and his colleague Corky LaValle is going to oversee the East Coast US chapter. And initially they will be combined chapters. So it really is a great opportunity for us to really understand on a global basis the best practices and the shared learning experiences from all our different cultures and countries.
And this is really an opportunity, to that point about cultures and countries. This is an opportunity to share best practices across the pond. There might be some things, some nuances that the Europeans have experienced that we would like to learn in the U.S. side and vice versa. So there's an opportunity here. We're becoming a global community of project managers, and so we want to expand our network and expand the services that PIPMG is providing. And so Corky and I, we thought we would head up this U.S. chapter. And me being on the West Coast, I'm based in San Diego, and Corky's on the East Coast. And we'll do intros here in a second. You'll get to meet Corky. But we're really excited. We're setting up a webinar series this year, and we would like to get some engagement with the U.S. community. And we have, other networks here in the U.S. For example, Claudia's here. She runs the New Jersey Life Science LCI. We have connections in with the BPPM, Biopharma PM, that's based mostly in San Francisco. So we'd like to, take advantage of these networks and expand the offerings that we have. And really, the whole point is share best practices and become better in our craft. So I gave a quick intro. Corky, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I've been both on the East Coast and the West Coast, spent the last 15 years or so in San Francisco, the Bay Area, working at a number of companies, including Genentech, et cetera. And started on the East Coast at Pfizer, been active with both the PM side of PMI, DIA, as well as the biopharma PM group that Joe's just mentioned. Was quite active with that when I was in the Bay Area, and then every once in a while I come back to the Bay Area and join up with them again. But this seemed like a great opportunity to connect up with our European colleagues and just get a, project management is project management. I don't care what the industry is. You can transfer those skills over, but biopharma is its own animal in many ways, and as I say all the time, it's a very incestuous little organization, and so everybody knows everybody else, or is 1 degree away from everybody else. So this is just a way to expand your network, learn about practices across the world in different cultures, and it's free. So how can you go wrong?
Thanks, Corky. Okay, here's I'm super excited about this, and let me walk through some of the offerings that we have coming up. This will be a webinar series that we're trying to do monthly. So this is our calendar for 2023, and you'll see the first 3 quarters of the year we have a bunch of great titles. So here we have, starting in March, a month away, we have a topic around portfolio optimization. That's going to be led by Tom Heaps Nelson. He's at Neurocrin here in San Diego. Later in March, we have Claudia, who's on the call here. She'll be describing the project management of medical devices and how agile project management is really used in devices. And I think there's some great lessons we can learn there on the pharma side from our colleagues in the device world. Claudia Schaefer, she's at Arcus in the Bay Area. She has a great talk about, she used to be an alliance manager who also filled the project manager role. And so that dual role, and then, the ability to separate out that role later as the company matured. So I think that's a great topic, because sometimes as small companies, we project managers are kind of forced into this alliance manager role. And then there's a conference. This conference will be in London in May, and it's mostly around lessons learned. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? So I think there's a great topic there. More webinars. Sarah Hudson, she's based at Avidity, and she has formed and rolled out several decision-making processes, decision-making frameworks at small to mid-sized companies. And so I think that's a really interesting topic. Every company needs good decision-making, so we can learn from her on how she's done it. Jordan Latiner, he's at TrialSpark, and that's a company based on the East Coast, and they're all about innovative ways of drug development. And so he's working up a topic right now on how they're doing innovation in drug development at TrialSpark. And then Paul Cook, he's former IPM. You guys might be familiar with IPM. He's at, I think, Graphite Bio now, and he's been at several small companies, and he knows the difference between project management at a large mature company versus a small kind of researchy based company. So he'd like to talk to us about that. And then you see some open slots here. And as we come to the end, the open mic session, we'd like to get your feedback on, would you like to be a speaker? What topics would you like to hear? So we have some opportunities here. And then you'll notice, so there's another conference in London in November. The topic there, probably something around cell and gene therapy. And you'll notice right now there's no US conference. We are planning something for Q1 2024. So let's keep in touch on that. And we'd have some great opportunities there. So more conferences to bring people together and share some deep dives into information. And through this webinar series, we're hoping we can provide information out, provide content out to our community. And it's free.
Yeah.
Denise, anything to add on this?
I look forward to hopefully attending in person the US conference. It takes us about, oh my God, about 9 months to have a face-to-face conference by the time we get everything in place. And so it is great that we're now looking at having one in the US. It gives us a good 12 months to put something in place. And so I'm really, really excited about being able to understand the pain points and celebrate the successes of fellow project managers in the US. So I mentioned, and thank you, Corky, and thank you, Joe, we've mentioned that it's a free organization. So what do we need sponsorship for? Well, unfortunately, even free organizations, nonprofit organizations, have to pay the tax man. And it does cost us to maintain websites and have marketing materials, etc. So we do need some income of some sort, but we keep it to a minimal because, as I said earlier, all our people are volunteers. It is a great opportunity for people who are supporting the project management industry to work with us as a sponsor, and there's various levels of sponsorships that are available, and we've just given you a flavor of some of them here on the screen. So if you know anybody who'd be interested or would like to talk to us about being a sponsor with PIPMG, the Pharmaceutical Industry Project Management Group, please reach out to Corky, Joe, myself, Jeanette, or John on the who are on the meeting today, and we can set up a call with you later. Or if you want to think about it, John will show you exactly on the website where you can go to get more information on our sponsors, and then send in an information request via the website. So it really is an excellent opportunity for somebody who is looking to promote their services, their expertise within the pharmaceutical industry project management arena among our in excess of over 1,000 members currently. Next slide, please. So, John, would you like to talk about our website, seeing as you're the person who manages it?
Yes, thank you, Denise. So everyone, one thing you may be aware of if you get into our website is that we try and keep it professional, but we don't spend a huge amount of money on making it sort of super flash, if you like. We like to focus on getting quality information to people, allowing them to network. And we do our best, you know, to keep it up to date and so on. Now, one of the things Denise was just talking about was sponsoring opportunities. So if you or if you want to direct a colleague or a supplier company, for instance, that might be interested to our website, you could probably just about see on the menu bar going across the upper part of the site, there is a section called sponsors, and this is a screenshot from it, so that all of the different types of ways that people can sponsor PIPMG are there, including something very straightforward, which is that some companies simply offer us a venue for one of our conferences. We usually go to pharma company premises to run our conferences, and that's a very successful thing. Right now, if you click once, please, Joe, that little QR code, if you pick that with your mobile phone, that will take you straight there. So something we are committed to doing as part of the free stuff from PIPMG as well is sharing knowledge. So when we have webinars, when we have main meetings, and as much as we can do in between times, then we post it on our knowledge center. Our knowledge center is searchable, and we put in reports from our meetings, videos like the video from this one will be on the knowledge center in a day or so. So you're welcome as a member to go into there and look at any things. There's presentations that you can download and so on and so on. So those are some of the, that's the knowledge center, the networking, the webinars are some of the free services we offer, and membership, of course, as Denise has said. There are other things, of course, that PIPMG offers, which are services that we may make a charge for. Some you've heard already. So our face-to-face conferences Generally, we charge for those because they're very expensive to put on. But you can look up all of that stuff as they come up. Look out for announcements coming to you about the May conference, for instance, which probably hasn't quite got a date set yet, but won't be too long away.
John,
So
can I add here?
Yeah.
That,
Yes, Joe.
This knowledge center is a space where people in the community can share their knowledge, their experience. So if you're interested in writing a white paper, writing a guidebook, this is something that we can post here and make it available to the community. It also gives you some, professional branding and recognition and some notoriety among the community. So it's, it's good on all sides.
And remember, it's free to join, so it's free to gain all this access.
Thank you, Denise. And let's move on to say another thing that PIPMG does, this as a service, obviously for fees, is training, project skills development. And there is a general area on our site about the development of skills in project management, including a dialogue about what sort of skills are needed for project managers going forward in our sector in slightly different environments, like the large pharma sector, the small pharma sector, CROs, and things like that. But as well, some typical areas, things that are pain points in our industry that we will sort of offer training around. If you click once, Joe, you will see that when you're ready, one of the particular things we have been doing is something for the small to medium-sized company sector, certainly in the UK, which is this business of scientists transitioning into project management for the first time. We've run some training on that recently for several organizations, and that's sort of gone very well. It's quite a difficult transition, as you may know if you've done it in the past, and especially in smaller companies where, as Denise said earlier, you have to do that as the same time as your science day job and add that role together. One more click, Joe. We've also just completed an e-learning program, an introduction, a basics introduction to life science project management, which people can do. It's not quite fully ready. It's completely designed. It's just not quite fully accessible in the website right now. It won't be much beyond next week when it actually will be, and we'll be announcing that and marketing that a little bit to the world going forward. So if you have any questions on any of that, you're welcome to ask. So the final piece of my slot, if you like, is how you can stay connected. Well, first thing is an easy one, of course. Join PIPMG and encourage your colleagues to do so. Here is the registration form, and when you see this, the PDF of these slides, you'll see the click straight to that form. Many of you have already done that, so let's not dwell on it and click forward to the next thing, which is that we are looking quite hard at our LinkedIn presence. We're aware that a lot of ways in which people keep in touch these days is not websites, it's actually LinkedIn. And we've got both a company page and a LinkedIn group. Gradually, LinkedIn is shifting a bit towards the sort of company page philosophy rather than the LinkedIn group philosophy. Microsoft to keep sort of shifting it. The links to both of them are there, and we would welcome you following the company page and joining the group where you can pick up stuff from us. And in the group, of course, you can post your own stuff by all means. One last click to say, okay, a private YouTube channel. What's that all about? What that means is that things like this, in video form, video recordings, you will actually see, if you click on the Knowledge Center, you will actually go to the private YouTube channel to view them. You can't, I don't think you can get there directly. You have to be a member as well to get to that channel. but this is a new thing, but you should see other things on there as well, popping in over the months. So you'll be able to watch the webinars and things like that. So I believe, Joe, that is my section. So I'm handing back to you.
Awesome, love it. So tons of good stuff on the website, and more to come. As we continue to create content and make it available to the community. That website will become more robust, and it's with the help of you. You are the community, and we can build this information content together. And that gets us into the last part of our session here: is what information do you want to see? What are some of the challenges that you're experiencing, and what can PIPMG do to help get past those challenges and provide best practices, so we can all learn from each other. So a couple questions here. You saw our webinar series. What else would you like to hear about in 2023? We have some open slots there. And let me just run through the questions, and then we'll open the mic up and we'll have you jump in. What else can PIPMG do to support its mission, being that the mission is we provide training and experiences available to the community? If you're interested in volunteering, how can you can get in touch with us, and we have plenty of opportunities for you. Is your organization interested in hosting a conference in 2024? Remember that a lot of the pharma companies, especially in Europe, they'll provide a space where we can have a conference. So if your company has a space available and would like to offer that up, we'd be interested to hear. Are you interested in speaking or writing an article for the Knowledge Center? So we talked about that for a bit. So let's open it up, and happy to hear your thoughts.
I can speak first. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hi, my name is Viv. I am new to this. Corky introduced this and advertised it on LinkedIn, and so I decided to join and give it a chance, and I don't regret it. One thing I don't hear often enough around project management is in safety, because I am in safety. I've been doing it for 15 years. The thing is, when you're in safety and safety operations, it is a lot of project management. You're trying to build an infrastructure, you're trying to lead a team, you're trying to just have everything very cohesive. So that is something I would like to hear more of. And I bring it up with other conferences I'm at as well, because safety, like operations, is the first thing FCA, EMA would look at. Do you have procedures? How did you put it in place? What are the roles and responsibilities? Those are very basic things, but people take it for granted. So that's something I would like to hear more about.
Vivian, I love it. Vivian, are you at Beijing? Is that how you know Corky?
I knew him from a different conference, and then we stayed connected. We worked together at Beijing, but separately, and then we stayed in touch. He is my guest speaker when I have school. So I also teach. So I'm gonna get my students to advertise this for you guys and have them join in.
Very good, awesome. See, that's why we do this, making the connections, and that continues on through many different opportunities. So that's fantastic. Okay, and safety operations, the project management of safety operations, I've written that down. I think it's a great topic. Fantastic.
Maybe can I go next? My name's Karen Skinner. I've known PIPMG for a long time, because I've known John for a very long time. I don't even want to think about how long it's been, John. But anyway, quite a long time ago. I remember when I worked at BTG, we hosted PIPMG at our site in Camberley once. So I think that went really well. And then I've got to know Denise more recently. I would just want to ask a bit about in terms of what else you can do to support the mission. I wondered about the links to other project management organizations like PMI, PIPMG, APM, because I think there's a huge number of project managers there that I think would hugely benefit from coming together joining PIPMG and coming together in that kind of pharma focused group. So I wondered kind of what links we have, what relationship we have with them.
So
sorry, Denise. After you, Denise, please.
Okay, so hi, Karen. A good point. And we are working together with the APM, and as you know, to try and see what synergies we could get together. Joe is very involved with the PMIs, as is Corky in the US. And we have good ties to PMI in Europe through the PIPMG group, and we speak for them and they speak for us. So we have already dialogues in place. The big difference is, and I hate to repeat myself for the 6th time, is we're free. And those PMI and APM, they are require a fee, an annual fee. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to come to the organization as part of a members club, rather than earning sort of qualifications and charter status and various academic grades. We're trying to spread the philosophy of project management, the principles of project management, rather than focus on the use and the introduction of tools within the organization. But to your point, Karen, we are in discussions with both groups to see how we can better service our membership, both from our side and both from theirs. John.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I just want to repeat the last thing you said, Denise. The APM have reached out to us in past months. We have an open door to talk to them. So some of you may remember that before the pandemic, we ran some joint events with them. They picked up the bill and they invited PIPMG members, and they were very, very successful. They went extremely well. We'd like to get something back together. We're not sure yet, but we have an open invitation. It's just taken us a little while. We're working on it right now. So
Okay,
expect
great.
news certainly from the APM side. And it's possibly going to be joint events on, I'm not sure what yet. We'll see.
Yeah. And the other main difference, which is why we're in discussion, it's not a simple thing, Karen, is that I'd say, and this is my personal quote, so please don't take this as read, but the majority of APM members belong to non-healthcare, non-pharmaceutical industry business groups, business sectors. For example, the UK APM chapter is very heavily civil service and construction.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have PMI, who has a small degree of pharmaceuticals, but again, they tend to lend themselves towards other non-pharmaceutical based business sectors. And as I said earlier, because we feel we're a little bit unique in how we have to manage project management, that's why we're sort of being specific for pharmaceutical healthcare environment. But we are discussing that.
Denise, Karen, my name is Ruby Chima. I am chair of Biopharma Project Management Organization here on the West Coast. And more than happy to chat a little bit more around this. We do have a conference coming up this year in May. And I'm intrigued.
Great. Well, let's do that. Let's follow up after the meeting, Karen.
Cheers.
And I mentioned Claudia earlier. Claudia is the chair of the PMI New Jersey Life Science LCI, and she does a lot of similar things, putting on webinars and creating white papers. Claudia, introduction.
Yes, thank you so much, Joe. And I hope you can hear me. I don't have a very good headset on right now, but thank you. It's been a joy to be here with all of you. So as Joe mentioned, the Project Management Institute's New Jersey chapter, we have a life sciences local community of interest, LCI, and we specifically provide content, education, sharing, and more for our life science members, focusing like you do on best practices in life sciences project management. We provide at least 4 speaker events, speaker being an individual speaker or panel discussions a year. We also provide blogs and other ways of sharing content on life sciences project management. So in the chat, I put a link to our page, and I look forward to exploring how we can collaborate with PIPMG. Thank you. I'm going to have to drop off in a few minutes for a client call, but I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and meet you all virtually, and hopefully at some point, maybe even in person.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Claudia.
Claudia.
And one other thing I wanted to mention is, you know, we're beginning to establish relationships with other organizations, like, for example, Marcus Evans. They put on a bunch of conferences across the globe, some of which are focused on project and portfolio management in biopharma. And so we're building a relationship with them where they would organize and host conferences, and we as PIPMG would put together the content. So we're the experts on the you know, the project management piece. They're the experts on the logistics, and so we're putting that relationship together. And there are other opportunities that we'll kind of share as they become more available. But Karen, to your question, connections, networking, you know, making this all kind of one cohesive ecosystem of offerings. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, sounds perfect. I mean, I know because I you know, I attend, you know, the APM and the, you know, the PMI, but you know, so much of those contents and the webinars, it isn't so applicable, I think, to our industry. And so having somewhere to go that's really focused on that, and people that are connected and sharing, I think I suppose the same problems or the same challenges, I think is enormously helpful.
Yeah, I personally think that's what I get out of PIPMG, is that shared pain, that shared frustration, that shared happiness, you know, that kind of motivates me to keep going.
Thank you, Karen. Additional thoughts, suggestions, complaints?
No complaint. This is Donna Schnorf. I'm with Alvarium Health, and I'm in the middle. So I'm neither East Coast nor West Coast in the US, and I'll find a spot to land in the organization. I'm the Chief Project Management Officer for our company, and I'm setting up our own internal PMO. And then we also set up the PMOs for some of our clients, small emerging biotechs that don't have them, which is interesting when you're wrangling doctors and scientists and other individuals regulatory as to the need of why you have a PMO organization. So I came out of big tech, and the PMI and a lot of those other organizations are fantastic in the tech industries. I happened to run across this posting on LinkedIn, and I think this is fantastic as I'm making the switch from tech to pharma. I've been in pharma 2 years now. It's a definite transferable skill set, but a lot of your PMs, as you come into the pharma industry, it's a different applied thinking. It's a different way of working. You still have your work back plans and your change management that goes along with it. And whether you're waterfall, Six Sigma, or you're scrumming, those principles remain consistent. It's the nuancing of how to maintain that. If there's not information in your learning center, and I haven't had a chance to look through it, how to make this switch from being a PM outside of industry into this. What are some basic pitfalls? What to look for? A quick start guide, as it were, to help some of the people transitioning. I think that would be good.
Donna, can I just mention that one of the purposes, not the principal purpose, but one of the purposes of our e-learning program is to give you a flavor of how PM works in biopharma. So it's something you might like to have a look at, Donna. We can arrange a preview for you if you want. A PM, a qualified PM in another sector is going to whiz through it quite quick, but it actually does talk a lot about, you know, how things work, and it's sometimes in a bit of a crazy way in our industry, and what you should expect.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I still have some of the bruises from the first 2 years. So while I might have, you know, I'm published and patented in the tech side of the PM world, making this transition has been interesting. I'd love to look at it from a fresh set of eyes if I can help, John.
Yeah, we once ran a webinar alongside the APM. We did run a webinar, a face-to-face meeting in 2018, I think, about that very topic, about PMs. Rarely, it doesn't happen often, certainly in the UK, but coming into the pharma industry from oil and gas or whatever, and gave me a real shock. And we had one of them talk to us, and he said, I couldn't believe it when I walked in. And it really took me a long time to orientate myself. I have to say, to the immaturity of it, he said, but to be frank, but it was interesting stuff. That might be on our knowledge center. I'm not sure. We can check that.
But a great topic for potentially to discuss for a conference, because I could see loads of workshops springing up from that. So thank you very much, Donna.
Sure.
We've got a question, an interesting question in the chat, which is...
Forgive me, John, it's Edward. Yes.
Is it real or utopian? I love that, but I'm interested to what you mean, because I perhaps can answer it or go on mute.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with a word like strategy. Do the project teams really affect strategy, or has the strategy already been set by the executive committee or the market to some degree? You know,
yeah.
You know, there's many nice things I think we would like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody was talking about it, and I think it's going to be the subject of a talk later on. The way you do project management at Novartis will be probably very, very different to a 20-man startup or person.
Yes, you're right, Edward. And let me just address that very briefly and say, in our e-learning, we do mention that you may get an opportunity as a project team to participate in strategic work and building the plan together, or you may not. Senior management, especially in a small organization, might have decided that, and your job will be to execute a plan that's already made, for instance. So we do make the e-learning is fairly basic and fairly quick, I have to say, but it will address, for instance, you know, the type of planning that you might do if you're in the middle of GSK or if you're in a 20-man startup, the different types of sophistication, if you like, of it. It won't instruct you how to do it very, very in a detailed way, but it's an overview. But I think you've made a good point, Edward, and it's worth just keeping a check on it, and I'll have another look at it.
Absolutely, Edward. And feel free to join the webinar by Paul Cook in August, who will deal with that exact topic.
I hope to be on a nice beach somewhere in August.
Well, that is the joy of PIPMG once you're a member, because the webinar will be recorded and will be present on our private YouTube video or in the Knowledge Centre. Do I sound like an ad now?
No, I don't want you to hear the ice chinking away in my cocktail.
Thank you for your thoughts, Edward. Jim, I saw you came off mute there for a minute. Did you have something to share?
Yes, I mean, to some extent reiterating what some of the other people have said. Certainly the APM PIPMG joint meetings were extremely good networking events. I particularly remember the one that John referred to, where we had somebody, I think they come into pharma from renovating theatres at a very high level. And yeah, he said it was like stepping back 20, 30 years. Just the way we do things. And my thoughts were along the lines of a lot of, we obviously have been discussing people coming in from PM elsewhere into pharma, and also from the techie side of the business into PM, which was my experience. And what I found APM before I found PIPMG, and what I found very useful with the APM was that stepping from the lab into project management in my organization, we had a PM structure on paper, and you'd stepped into, but it was very, very one-dimensional. It was deliver this. Coming back to John's point that, you know, it's already been decided what was going to be done, and a question of deliver it. And nothing in our organization about all the tools you're supposed to be applying if you're going to call yourself a project manager. And that's what I found invaluable initially in APM, and then subsequently as I found PIPMG and those joint meetings as well. It's that thing about all these skills you ought to have if you're going to call yourself a project manager. And in terms of talking to people who don't have our problems, they've all got their own unique view, and that has been useful in terms of networking, because ultimately everybody's got a very, very similar set of fundamental problems, which is, budget, schedule. You want it, you want that when, and those kind of unrealistic ambitions. And the big one, certainly the big one for me, and I think in a lot of farmer experiences, the scope will change. The scope will change. If you blink, it will change. And that's something that has to be, dealt with. And the silos we work with, I mean, we were talking earlier, I think, mentioning medical devices. The people I work with are largely chemists and analysts. They know nothing about devices. They know nothing about, some of my projects, the device team is already starting on the project before the drug substance team have started. I mean, they've got to navigate far more, significant challenges in terms of getting a device built past IP and into the marketplace. And that's a universe that just doesn't exist to the drug substance people. So those silos, I think, are a big deal within the pharma industry, that you need deep experts in 5 or 10 very significant areas, and they are siloed.
Yeah, that's such a good comment about, devices, and especially now drug device combinations are becoming so much more common. And so us, like kind of old school small molecule PMs, we get kind of forced into this device, figuring out how the device is going to link in and the timing of that. And it's a totally foreign space. So I think having some exposure to what device PM looks like is useful. And it makes me think, when I started my career, it was all small molecule. Biotechnology was at the very beginning. And there was this whole, like, how do we manage biotech processes and how do we manage the development of biotech products? And now that same thing is happening with gene and cell therapy. It's like kind of this new space that's confusing and complicated, and the risks are different and the science is different. So I think there's an opportunity there to, expand on what cell and gene therapy is looking like. Does anyone here work for a cell gene therapy company?
I used to for 2 years.
Okay, good, Vivian. We might tap into your experience.
And you're right.
I've
It's
worked for
very
cell and gene
unique-
therapy as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Boyd's, who I work for, we do a lot of consulting for various cell and gene therapy companies.
Okay. Yeah, very good. They're becoming more and more common, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more of it. Other thoughts, other considerations? Well, I think this has been really helpful. I've taken down a bunch of notes on things that we can continue to expand on. Denise, I'll turn it back over to you to close us out.
Great. It was a great discussion, and thank you very much to everybody who contributed. I'm a bit disappointed I didn't hear any volunteering. Didn't hear anybody saying they wanted to be a speaker. So please, 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 we really are only as good as the volunteers we get. And trust me, we have some excellent volunteers, but we do need more, and there's loads of things we can get you to do. If you're a bit shy and you don't want to speak in public, that's fine. There's loads of stuff. The people in the foreground are only half what you see. It's all the people who do the background work that are essential to make PIPMG the success it is. So if you want to help in any way, just let us know. Reach out to Joe, Corky, or myself, or indeed the PIPMG website. So thank you very much, Joe and Corky, for setting up the US chapter. We are really, really excited about welcoming our US colleagues. And I, for one, hope that every single one on the call today gets as much out of PIPMG as I do, because it is a great organization and you really feel a kinship. And it's great to know that there are similar people in similar situations with the same pain points. So on behalf of everybody on the call today, thank you very much wherever you are. And if it's a time for a morning coffee or an afternoon tea or a glass of wine, which I'm about to have, enjoy. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye for now.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.